Okay, we're back. I'm so excited. I think it's been like way over a year since I last posted like a project making video. I'm finally back with another video and it's a good one because this is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while and a project I've been wanting to do for a while. I'm going to start off with the story. Also, our house is on the side of the main road, so apologies for the background noise. I also don't have a microphone yet still. I don't have a tripod either at the moment because every tripod I seem to have breaks. So you are currently balanced on 2 boxes and a journal. If you're not bothered about listening to this story and you just want to see me sewing and making the actual costume, then feel free to skip ahead. I will put a timestamp in the description so that you can just skip straight to the making part. Let's just get into it with the story of what happened. Okay, if you are new here and you are not familiar with my work, I am a costume and fashion designer and I specialise in creating fantasy fashion and wedding wear is what I like to call it, all from secondhand and reclaimed materials. So here on YouTube I like to say that I like to find the magic in the mundane. I really like to turn old things into new things, or really just find the hidden potential in materials that would otherwise be considered old or discarded or whatever it might be. So that is what I do and I've been doing this for years. I also work other part-time jobs, or have done over the last few years, like many artists do. I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely love what I do, but it's really difficult trying to build a business as an artist in this economy when you don't have connections or rich parents or all of those things. Anyway, last year I was sat having coffee with my mum and I had just made this corset out of old ballet shoes. I absolutely loved it and my mum loved it as well. We were just talking about it and I was saying how I really wanted to push myself creatively. We were talking on a whim of like who would be my dream clients or dream people to design for. I listed my top 3 musicians at the time. Those were Aurora, Paris Paloma and Chapel Roan. This was like at the time when she was just blowing up and I was like completely obsessed with her aesthetic and her music. I'm not kidding when I say about a week later I'd seen an email on my phone. I just saw like in the thumbnail Chapel Roan tour styling request or something along those lines. It was a week after we'd just been discussing like how this would be literally a dream of mine. I couldn't believe it, right? I read the email. It was the styling team that had emailed me. I had seen them working with other independent designers as well that I follow. So I did know that they were working with like small designers too. It was for one of the performances on her tour. She was going to be performing in Chicago and this was within like literally like within 2 weeks time of the email coming through, and they were obviously doing like a different theme for each leg of the tour, and this one was going to be like a Rococo inspired kind of theme, like a Marie Antoinette kind of inspired thing, which I'm all about that. I've made many pieces inspired by that era, like 18th century fashion, and the pieces they found of mine that they were interested in were some like Rococo inspired suits that I had made. And so they attached those pictures and were like, we're really interested in borrowing these, let us know, we're really interested in working with you, all that kind of stuff, right? So obviously my heart dropped. I was like, this is it, like this is a dream come true. And you know, as a working class artist as well, something like this could really change your career. I don't really believe in big breaks anymore, like it's just one thing and everything falls into place. I don't think that's true. But with something like this, when it's someone that you genuinely admire, I loved her music. It was just like a wonderful opportunity to me that would have been so fun and I would have loved to have done it, obviously. But they'd sent it the night before and obviously there's a bit of a time difference, so I hadn't seen it for a good few hours, like half a day probably went by on their end by the time I actually saw this email. So I got back to them and I basically explained that the pieces that they had selected were examples of commissions that I had done, and so those pieces already belonged to other people and I didn't have them anymore, but I'd be obviously happy to make something. I was going to call up my job at the pub and be like, can someone cover my shifts because I need extra hours because I'm going to make a costume for Chapel Rowan. And I know that my friends at the pub would have been like, yeah, we'll cover you, like, do that, that's amazing. So I was like about to ask for time off work, I'm not even kidding. Got back to them as quick as I could. And I didn't hear anything, right, for a couple of hours. Me being me, I was like, look, I'm just gonna do them right now whilst I was in the studio. I'm gonna do them a full sketch. I'm gonna do like a full like mood board and everything and send it to them. I mean, sometimes I feel like as an artist you have to be a little bit delusional, but anyway, so I did this full design and I'll show you what the design was here as well, and yeah, and emailed it like with a follow-up email just being like, I know things must be crazy busy for you all right now. In the interest of time, I've put this together. If you were interested in this, I can have it made and shipped by this date. And I think I asked if they'd cover the postage cost, because obviously it would have to get from the UK to the US and it'd have to be like priority shipping, which is expensive, and I don't have that kind of money just on hand, especially if it's a project I'm not getting paid for, right? I'm editing this and I just wanted to interject in here really quickly and say that you didn't mishear me. I was not going to get paid for this job. There was no budget. No budget. I mean, in fairness, like, you know, Chapel was still like, she had just kind of blown up overnight. So there might well have not been a budget for all of these costumes that were changing like every single performance practically. So, you know, and on this occasion I was happy to do this for free because I just thought it would have been so fun, and I just thoroughly enjoyed to do it. You would be amazed at the amount of times designers, especially independent designers, up-and-coming designers, do not get paid to make things for famous people. It happens all the time and it's crazy. But that is a conversation for another time. I did, you know, as much as I did do this design for them, it is a little bit different to the original pieces of mine that they were interested in. And so I did obviously say as well that I had some fabric that was closer to the original designs of mine that they liked, and I would have obviously been happy to do something kind of more closely inspired by those as well, in case they didn't like the pink pony club idea. So yeah, back to the story. Basically, I got ghosted. I was completely ignored and I was never replied to ever again. And I was so devastated, and it seems so silly now because it's been over a year. Like, I know it's really not that big of a deal, but some of you who are also artists or creative people will understand why something like that is so crushing. Yeah, so they never got back to me ever again, and obviously as the days went by I knew that there was going to be no time for me to get a costume ready for them anyway, and so it just became clear that they hadn't chosen to go with my design. It's so kind of cringy to say now, but I think I just really related as well to Chapel in that, like, her whole thing is that she worked for like 10 years to get to where she is. She got dropped by a record label and she had to give up a few times and she had to go and work at, like, I don't know, the donut counter or whatever it was. I just relate a lot to that journey as someone who's also from a small town trying to be an artist and, you know, share my art with the world. So I just really related to her journey and her story. So yeah, it was really devastating. I was really, really devastated because at this point I was still working behind a bar, and as much as I loved everybody that I worked with, hospitality, I've been doing it for many, many years, and I was really starting to get really burnt out. I was essentially working like 3 jobs at this point. A couple of weeks later I was working behind the bar, and on my break I pulled up and Instagram. I'd kind of forgotten what day it was, and the first thing that popped up was obviously an image of Chapel in her outfit, and she looked incredible, right? You're there like getting paid minimum wage, you have to go back in a second to go and like pull pints, and it was gutting. Like it really was kind of soul destroying when you've been pursuing something like this for years. I had a couple of other instances of like close big opportunities and then it just kind of like you get ghosted again. You have to become resilient to these things and just keep going and believe in what you're trying to do. Dressing celebrities, like that's not the definition of success as a designer to me. You know, there are plenty of famous people I would not care to dress or design for because they don't resonate with me and my values. As a creative person, you do get a lot of rejections and setbacks. It's really important to remember not every rejection, because you're going to get a lot of them, is a reflection of the value of your work and also your worth. Oh my god, I need to catch my breath. Let's just have another sip of coffee. This is going on for way too long. Okay, the whole reason that I'm telling you about this is because I had the whole design. I still really want to make what I was going to make because I still think I would enjoy making this costume and I will enjoy sharing that with you all, and so I'm going to do it anyway. So originally I was going to do this story and the making part of the video as two separate videos, but I've decided to combine them into one video, so I didn't properly like finish off the story nicely here to transition into the rest of the video, so I suppose that's what I'm doing now. And also I am going to leave you with some final thoughts on this whole experience, like reflecting back on it, so I'm going to be popping that in at the end of the video after the reveal of the costume and just kind of give you my final thoughts on the whole thing. So now into the making portion of the video. Sit back, relax, you can pop this on in the background, and yeah, I'll see you again at the end. Okay, so we're back to filming the making of this costume after a little while. You are on my ironing board, and so I'm just gonna kneel down here to stop me like squatting to be in front of the camera. Right, so I'm just gonna show you where we got up to. This is like as far as I got with the bodice. You can see all the boning on the inside, so I just used a pair of old cotton curtains to line the inside. I do need to alter it a bit because it's currently a bit big. So this will be the front and it'll lace up at the back there, and then obviously the straps will be fixed down as well, kind of like this. It's a little bit big, so I'm going to have to take it in a fair bit, so I need to make those adjustments. And then we also have the sleeves cut as well, which will be like this. So I think on the original sketch I was going to do it like a blazer dress with like a big collar, but I've decided instead I'm going to do it more like a traditional bodice, like 18th century bodice shape without the collar, and then figure out the skirt at some point. I don't know. But basically what I need to do now is I need to like fold the back in as much as I need to like take it in, fix the straps down, and then I can add the sleeves. So yeah, I'm just going to carry on. I'm going to do some hand stitching first because I'm quite engrossed in this YouTube video that I'm watching. So yeah, I'm going to do a bit of hand sewing. I have now stitched the straps down. I basically just like hand stitched that, so you can see that there. This is what I've taken out of the back. So this was actually, this piece here was like here, and this was like folded out like that. So basically to make this whole thing smaller, I've folded both of those in and stitched that down so that now this should fit me a little better, and hopefully once these have got eyelets in and it all laces up, I can just kind of pull it as tight or, you know, loosen it as I need. So I think it'll fit me around the waist here, and then it'll probably expand here, which is fine, happy with that. So the next thing to do is to insert the sleeves, so I'm going to do that now on the machine. So how I'm sewing the sleeves is actually with a French seam. Essentially you sew the edges wrong sides together, so like as it would look, with the seam on the outside, and then you trim it down close to that stitching, turn it inside out, and then you sew it again. So this is obviously the inside, but that means that you don't have any raw edges and that edge is completely concealed. And so when we turn this the right way around, which I will do in a second, you will have obviously no raw edges on the outside and no raw edges on the inside. So far I've used one curtain for the bodice, and then I'm going to use one for the skirt, and I'm just working on the underskirt. So I actually got this at a theatre sale. It was like a theatre that was closing down a couple of years ago, and there's already quite a lot of volume in here, so I think I'm going to use this as a base just to save me a lot of time. But I want the skirt to be a lot shorter than this, like I want it to be like a proper mini skirt. So I've just kind of roughly marked along here, and I'm going to cut that down and put all of this into a new waistband. So you've seen I've got the underskirt now that I have like chopped down. So this is going to be like a mini skirt, but I want loads of volume, and I think I want it to make my legs look really long because I just think that'd be really dramatic and fun. This is going to be like the main underskirt, and then I've got all of this. It's going to have a frill that goes like there. And then it'll have some of this, obviously, over the top. So I now need to basically turn this into a massive circle and add it to this massive circle. You can see that I've pinned my organza lace stuff. I basically just like pinned it in generally like quite equal points around the skirt. I did not measure, I rarely measure, I usually just do things by eye. Just gonna stitch this down on the machine and just like gather it in with my fingers. I'm not going to use a gathering thread because I can't be bothered, and also the top of it, like the gathering is not actually going to be seen because that'll be covered by the pink fabric anyway, so why go to all that trouble if you don't need to? The waistband is officially stitched down. This is the weirdest outfit ever. So I've just kind of tried this on and it's very cute. Obviously if I roll my shorts up. Do you know what? It's not actually that as short as I thought it was going to be. So I don't know, I think it's quite a cute length though, and it's like, there's so much volume, look at that, it's so cute. Yeah, I need to figure out how I'm gonna wear this with the bodice. I think I might put some eyelets in the back so that it can lace with the bodice at the back somehow. And then obviously I need to figure out, I'm gonna add some trimmings and stuff, but I might kind of figure out the whole outfit more before I do that. Couldn't resist a quick little try on with the bodice too. I think this is going to look really cute. I think maybe the next thing to do is add the frills on the sleeves, just so I can figure out what all this is going to look like together, and then we can sort of then start looking at trimmings and things, which is the most exciting part. And I might also add the eyelets down the back so that I can like fasten all this on together too. I don't know how long ago that was where I last recorded, but I have done 3 eyelets, and then I ended up doom scrolling on my phone because I went on my phone to check a thing and then doom scrolled for I don't even want to know how long. So I'm an idiot and I hate when this happens to me. Well, I say when this happens to me, it's my own stupid fault. So I'm gonna make a coffee, just like reset, make a coffee, hide my phone, and get these eyelets done, because the quicker I get these eyelets done, the quicker I can do all the trimmings and the fun stuff. And I really want to go down to my local craft shop to see what kind of trims and ribbons they have, because they might have something better than what I already have, and I also like to support them because they're a small local business. So yeah, I'm gonna make a coffee, get on with that, and hopefully not doom scroll for God knows how long it's been. Okay, bye. So as you can see, I have now added eyelets down the back, and I've also actually added some here at each sleeve, because I want to take the sleeves, like make them a little bit tighter around my arms. So I'm going to use those to like thread some ribbon through and take them in like that, and that should create a bit more of a flounce as well. I've added these at the back, which should, when this like gets pulled in like that, should pull the skirt to the right length, and this should like match up with the bodice, so it'll keep the back of the bodice in line with the skirt too. I've got this like white lace trim, and I think my plan is to maybe add some of that around the neckline. This needs more silver to bring out the silver unicorns, so I think I'm gonna then layer up some like silver braid or something over this, but I don't have any of that, so I'll have to buy that. Maybe around the sleeves and maybe here as well. I think I just need to write myself a list of what I'm looking for, and then yeah, and then we'll go to the craft shop. I just got back. It wasn't a very successful trip because I couldn't get most of the things that I was looking for, but I did find some things in the charity shop that I thought might be useful for future projects. Then I was looking in this little random bag of like thread and lace, and I'm pretty sure there's 2 silver buckles in there, which would be absolutely perfect because I want to make some matching shoe clips to go with this outfit, to just add a bit of a 18th century kind of style to the shoes. I'm hoping they are a matching pair. Oh, they're not. They're actually not a matching pair. Oh no! Okay. Oh man, that's so annoying. Through the bag, it looked like this was a matching pair of buckles, but it's actually not. I think this one actually sits on top of this one, but I don't know. There is something I can do, which I've never done before, which is styling a wig, because I figured that like this would look really good with a proper hairstyle. I don't have a lot of experience in styling wigs. In fact, I have no experience in styling wigs, so I am not gonna set the bar too high for myself in terms of doing like a full Marie Antoinette like massive hairstyle. I just think that would be too much for me right now, but I could do something. I will show you the wigs that I have. Okay, so I went and found my wig box, as you do. So I've got a white one. I do use this for photographing headdresses, so it's maybe better to keep this one as it is, although I feel like it would look quite cool with this outfit. This is the more like gingery one, which would definitely feel more like the original sketch that I did. Okay, so I've got my little dummy head. It turns out it's got a hole in it, so I just use my mannequin stand because I don't have a wig stand or anything, and I think that's gonna work pretty well. Please don't take this as advice on how to style a wig. I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm also very impatient and can't be bothered watching like loads of different YouTube videos about it, so I'm just gonna go for it. Okay, I'm just gonna make it up as I go along. Okay, I basically didn't film any of this because I got carried away watching Ella Enchanted, but this is kind of basically what I've come up with. It's not the best, okay? Like, you can obviously see that it's not the neatest, but I think it communicates the era enough and kind of matches my original sketch enough as well. I would like to use this wig again, and I'd like to be able to take all of this down and not have an absolute nightmare trying to like brush it all out again. So this'll just have to do. I'm hoping to make like a big bow for the ponytail. It's a new day, I've just got back from work, so I am going to carry on with this costume. Unfortunately, the shop yesterday didn't quite have the right like silver trim that I wanted, but I got some really nice ribbon to lace at the back. I think for the silver trim I'm going to have to order some, but I think in the meantime what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the bow to go on the wig at the back and the bows for the shoes. it's a new day again. I don't know how many days I've been working on this costume, but my silver trim finally arrived. It's not as shiny as I was hoping it would be from the listing online, but hey ho, we'll just make do. So the last thing to do really is to stitch this on and maybe make a little collar, like a little choker, and then we're pretty much done. So yeah, let's do that. I am sweating. Oh my god. Right, let's talk about this costume. Overall, I absolutely love it. I just think it's so fun and silly, and yeah, I think it's really, really cool. I love how the sleeves turned out. I love like the choker, and I think that the wig turned out a lot better than I was hoping it would. I do think it gives that pop star kind of vibe, and it's definitely like Marie Antoinette but with like a really campy twist, which I do really like, and I do feel like I kind of executed that with like the historical references but making it feel like really fun. It's also definitely giving like kawaii vibes as well, which I do love, like kawaii fashion, but I don't know if that would have necessarily been too kawaii for like chapel. Although I feel like I really could see her wearing this. That's why I got the fishnet tights and the boots, and I definitely feel like these added to the pop star kind of look. So I could definitely see her wearing this, and I think she would have looked really cool in it. I definitely think though that like the hair would have needed to be messier. I think it would have had to be styled in a more edgier way. In terms of the construction, most of it went pretty well. So I think if I was to alter this, I would attach the skirt to the bodice permanently, because I'm kind of getting this like skin section here which wasn't part of the plan. But yeah, overall I'm really happy with it. I've not made something quite like this before, and it was really fun. Yeah, I'm just interjecting again as I'm editing this video because I have now spent hours and hours staring at this costume from my laptop screen, and so I think in hindsight I think I should have stuck to the original design that I did, which was going to be more like the blazer but kind of elongated into a dress. Obviously that is what I had intended on making for chapel, and I do think that would have been better. I could have definitely done more in terms of loads more detail really, because I think the thing with this costume, there's not enough texture. I think I love the unicorn fabric, but it is quite flat. A lot of the materials I used were just things that I already had lying around in the studio, because I like to use up what I've got. You know, for the sake of me turning this into more of a personal project, just like a fun little thing that I could make, I'm still happy with it. But I just think that more texture would have been nice, more detail and more depth would have really made this like next level, and I do think I could have done a better job. But you know, it doesn't matter, it was still fun, and ultimately, you know, that's all it was about this time. Just kind of looking back on this whole experience, like to tie this back in with the story at the start of this video, you know, it's been over a year since that happened, and I've really made my peace with it now. I do think this would have been really cool to see on chapel. I think she would have made this her own, but she looked amazing in what she did wear, and her styling since then has just been like absolutely amazing, and I love to see it. I think it's really inspiring. There's no hate towards the styling team at all, and you know, the ghosting was kind of frustrating, but I also don't blame anyone in particular for that, because that is what unfortunately the industry is like. It's the same with the fashion industry, the music industry, the publishing industry, film industry as well. Everything is so fast-paced and cutthroat. These industries are like these huge machines. I think it just means that, like, you know, replying to a little designer like me, things like that just fall through the cracks. And I don't like how the industry takes advantage of young and up-and-coming designers, small designers, ask them to work for free. But again, I just want to preface, this is absolutely no hate towards anyone in particular or anything like that. I don't really think anyone did anything wrong, and this situation is not unique to me at all. There are so many people that this has happened to. I have built up some resilience to that kind of thing. I just want to create because I love it, and I want to keep growing as a designer. I've made things that I prefer much more to this, but it's always fun to experiment, and I still loved making this. I still think it's so cute. You know, from a pair of old curtains, not bad, right? Not bad, considering this was a pair of curtains that I got in the charity shop, so I'm quite pleased with that. Everything else, down to like the boots, the tights, the gloves, all secondhand as well, all found on Vinted. I really do believe that you can make something that's impactful without having to spend a fortune. I think you can do a lot with very little, and that is kind of what I hope to encourage others to see and to try out themselves through creating videos on this channel. And on that note, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to subscribe. I'm still growing this channel, I'm still quite new to the whole long form video thing. I would love to have you here. If you would like to support me, you can do so over on Patreon. Just know you are helping me to create more and hopefully do what I love more in the future. And as a thank you, patrons will have their name credited at the end of every video. You can be a patron from as little as $1 a month. I wanted to make sure that there's some really affordable options on there for people, because I know not all of us have a lot of money to spend right now. The first thing I'm working towards over there is getting a microphone and a tripod. So funds that I make from Patreon will be going towards things like that to increase the quality of my videos, and hopefully I can sort of like grow my channel from there quite organically and with the help of all of you guys as well. If you are a fellow creative person or artist or in any capacity and you've had any similar experiences of being so close to a big opportunity and it hasn't gone according to plan, I would love to hear all about it, so feel free to put those experiences in the comments section and we can have a little chat about it. I really hope to see you soon. I am gonna go because I am sweating. Oh god.